Here, what's going on, everybody? I didn't get a chance to go live yesterday, but I'm going today, and I'm glad I am. This is for my people who like to think. Okay, so if you don't like to think, this is not going to be for you. Um, we're going to get into this. This is going to be many of levels. This whole thing with Jay Z, JonBenet is coming back up. This is definitely the year of getting to the bottom of it, right? Uncovering the bullshit, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, let me just check something real quick before we start. Let me see. If it's- All right. All right, I just wanted to make sure I was going live on Instagram. Okay, so let's talk about it. First off, my girlfriend said to me, she says, this John Bonet case is really deep. And I want you to see what you have to say, okay? Because I do this thing called Truth and Justice Tarot, which is exclusive to my Patreon. Okay, it's exclusive to my Patreon. It's free. I've done 2 episodes. John Benet's about to be the third one. I wasn't really trying to do it, but because she said so, because she asked, I'ma pull on it and I'ma see. Okay. And I'ma see if I can get John Benet to show me anything. I'ma try it. But I've been watching it. I'm on the second episode now. I was watching it at the gym. And it's crazy because I remember this case as as a child, younger, when I was younger. And I even bought the book. I don't know where the book is. It's around here somewhere. I bet you I'll find it when I move. But it's a very peculiar case. And as I'm watching this thing, one thing that's very much standing out to me, even so this is all going over with this Jay-Z and Diddy and all of this stuff. When people have something in their mind, when they believe something to be true, they want it to be true. It doesn't matter. They can look at something right in their face. They can actually see it, and their belief supersedes even what their eyes see. It's like they've been turned over to a reprobate mind. It doesn't make any sense, right? And it's the perfect cocktail: belief, propaganda, right? One thing I've always known about propaganda, I went to school for mass communications, public relations. I have a degree in it. And also, I went to school for broadcast media arts. So, I kind of know about this thing called propaganda, and they've been doing it for a long time. And it was very heavy in this John Bonet case. Very heavy. And it's almost for a minute, me watching the thing, you have to watch it. So it might be a spoiler alert. I'm not trying to spoil it for anybody, but this might be a spoiler alert for you. Um, For a minute, I was like, I mean, is somebody inside the police department? Were they in on it? Because it was just so ridiculous. It just had to be the father. It had to be the mother. It had to be John or Patsy Ramsey that took the life of their child. And it's crazy because you see people going nuts, right? Even with the OJ Simpson trial, different things, people going nuts. They're outside of homes, they're knocking on doors, they're being pesty, they're hunting these people down and all of this stuff. But it's like when it's real stuff going on, there's no one to be found nowhere. And it's very interesting. I want to say, even though I do read, and I want to make this clear, I don't pull on celebrities for a reason. I'm gonna get into that reason. I didn't even want to do John Benet Ramsey, mainly because, and I mean, of course, her family was well to do or whatever. She wasn't celebrity, but the case has made it like celebrity status, right? This thing's been going on for this happened in 1996. We're entering or about to enter 2025. right? This thing is coming back up because this year it's like, hey, we got to tie all these loose ends and get this truth out here, right? And none of us paying attention. We're going to get the answers, but it's just it's crazy. I don't get into this stuff. I had a dream. I've had a couple dreams concerning celebrities. In one particular dream, I was actually talking to Cardi B. I don't even think I've talked about this, but let's do it. Let's talk about it. Now, all of this that I'm talking about, hey, I'm just giving my opinion, my viewpoints. Okay, this is not to be taken in the court of law. Don't subpoena me. Don't ask me about a motherfucking thing. I'm just telling you how I see it. Okay, that's it. Hands up, don't shoot. But at any rate, I was having a dream about Cardi B. And I was talking to Cardi B. I happened it to be. It's very interesting because when I have deep dreams, or I've had them in the past, they seem to take place in my bedroom, and more specifically in my bed. And so, as I'm talking to her, I'm asking her about this whole thing with celebrities and these contracts, right? What we would call the Illuminati and all of this stuff. I'm asking her these questions. And the first question I asked her was, I don't think it was that deep. I don't remember the specific question, but what I do remember is she asked me. But now the second time I'm getting into the contracts and the signing your soul over and all of this stuff. I don't know the specific question, but this was the nature of the question. And as she began to tell me, one thing I noticed is she began to power down. She had this smile on her face, classic Cardi B smile that she gives, and then she began to power down. It was almost like I sensed she was being shut down from telling me, right? Because she was going to. And so, as after I'm witnessing her powering down, and I'm asking her this question about the Illuminati in my dream, an ancestor of mine appears at the edge of my bed and grabs my leg. Now, this specific ancestor, I'm not clear as to who it is. What I do know, he is definitely on my dad's side of the family because he looks like my grandfather. However, I didn't get the feel that he is my grandfather. And this grandfather has passed on, but I didn't get the belief. But by the look of him, I knew he was on my dad's side of the family. And so as he grabs my leg, he says to me telepathically, to leave it alone. And that was enough for me, that right there. And then also, it was another reader. She was going to read, I believe, on Diddy. And her spirit team told her to stop. No, don't do it. And I don't think you should do it. To those who do it, I'm not judging. I watch it. I ain't gonna lie, I watch it. But I don't want to be tapping into that energy. I don't want to be under the microscope unnecessarily. It's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And I believe we can be powerful behind by being silent. Sometimes if you know what to do, you ain't got to come out swinging and all that. But I get why some people do it. Some people do it because that's how they like to express their gifts. Maybe some people like the clicks and the clickbait. What I do think is that when people do this, it's their way of getting people's attention to their skills so that they can be able to share them. And that's my objective opinion. So that is why specifically I don't pull on these celebrities. However, back to what I was saying, it is very clear. As I'm working out, I'm just really putting all this together, and I've noticed that it's our belief, our choosing to believe shit about people that we do not know. Our belief has allowed people to be victims. Um JonBenet was a victim of the same type of mindset of what they're saying about Diddy and allegedly Jay-Z, right? It's a it was a predator that went after this young girl. Now, one thing I will say, I mean, it was just really just again, I'm on second episode of this shit on Netflix, and it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable how people have these narratives in their mind and they're disgusting and how far they go with things. Me personally, and this is not any knock on the Ramseys, I wouldn't have my child in pageants. What I know today, and it's unfortunate, it's not because it's a wrong. It's not that they're doing anything wrong, right? It's nothing wrong, but it's just the fact that the minds of sickos, you put your child in this predicament. And I've got as far into the thing where into the documentary where they're now kind of looking at the fact that another case that had happened um to another individual shared the same dance studio as JonBenet. So you have these sickos that watch these kids, and when they're out in the public, they're more susceptible for being watched and sickle stalked. And so absolutely not, absolutely not. And one thing that a sicko needs, if you can get propaganda and you can get some people that just believe shit just because they believe it, despite even despite knowing people, one, two, they see some things right in front of them and they make up things, or you could give them the truth and they still don't want to believe it. What was very interesting is the DNA had already revealed that nobody in John Bonet's family was guilty, and they didn't want to release it because they wanted them to be guilty. Now I feel like that police department should definitely be sued if they haven't. I don't know if they have, but that was crazy. Like the whole way everything was handled was disgusting. The misinformation that was put into the newspapers and the tabloids was disgusting. It was like they wanted blood, but no one was really getting down. They wanted what they want, but they didn't want to get down to the truth. And this is the same shit that's going on now with this whole Diddy and this Jay-Z. Listen, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Jay-Z. I don't know Jay-Z. And the truth is that you're innocent until proven guilty. But what we do know is Holly Weird got some weird shit going on. That's why I just called it Hollywood. They have some weird things going on. And what we do know is you have to be compromised when you get so far for the purposes of control. And so there's no way in the world that I would fix my mouth to say what an individual would do. And I damn sure wouldn't fix my mouth to say what someone like Jay-Z or Diddy would do. Now, I don't know them. I don't. But we already seen the bullshit that Diddy did on tape. We saw it. And listen, it's been word on the street that that man Biggie, Tupac. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not nothing new. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's been stuff going on a long time. I remember looking at him as a kid. I always thought he was like fraudulent. It was always something about him. Ugh, I don't know. And even with that, I even hate saying that because he has children. He has children that they know him as dad. I don't know their personal relationship with their dad, meaning I don't know the dealings and the goings ons of the daily day to day that they had growing up in their house. So I'm going to assume that it was uh as normal as it could be considering the circumstances, right? I mean, it's not going to be like me and you, but that was their father, right? That's what I'm assuming. But I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. So we got to get out of this assuming stuff, and this misinformation and this propaganda is very damaging because when you have a collective of individuals that are not able to think objectively and they're quick to gain assumptions, and it goes to show how perverse a lot of people's minds are too, how quickly they are to buy into a scandal. And it's crazy when the scandal's really going on, everybody's mum's the word, because if the same energy was put behind the bullshit that people be having going on, these kids that have been violated, trafficked, and all that, it would have been brought down to a significant minimal. And there's been a lot of stuff going on in our government, even looking at to now. Like, people, why were people getting upset? Why was anybody getting upset about the election? What the fuck has been so great about this country and how it's been ran that you got mad about the change of the guard? What in your mind tells you it's going to get that much worse? And this is how I know people just listen to sound bites and propaganda, and they run with it. They run with it. They don't read, they don't critically think, they don't do anything. And what they damn sure don't want to do is take accountability for their lives. And that's one thing about spirituality too, right? Spirituality and accountability is hand in hand. For you to expand, evolve, and grow, you have to be accountable, and you have to own up to who you are, what you're doing, where you've been, where you're going. You got to own up to it. You got to forgive and let it go. But you got to do a lot of stuff. And first, it starts with accountability. And that's why a lot of people don't want to evolve and expand, because they don't want to do that type of work. Right. And we're not able to look at ourselves and say, well, a lot of this fucked up shit is going on because a lot of us think fucked up. And we're okay with the status quo because you had an administration that showed you jack shit, doo doo, did nothing significant. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Nothing that was like out in your face. I'm sure you could pull something out the corner of the closet and tell me, well, they did this. But on a grand scale, I mean, no, our lives didn't change. We still had to get out and work and pay our bills and do what we got to do. And you're still going to be able to do the ignorant shit that you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't be understanding it. And it's just all of this stuff, believe it or not, it just works hand in hand. But this year, everything has to come to a head. It had to come to a head. We Cat Williams kicked it off with a bang, and it's been booming and banging and blowing and kablooey ever since. And I'm okay with it, because at some point we have to take the blinders off. And at some point we have to look at ourselves and see what type of world that we are collectively projecting. And we see all of this shit because it's unacceptable. And what kind of lack have we been living in that people are willing to degrade themselves and go through these rituals and be demeaned and have their dignity and their identity and their sovereignty taken away from some false sense of I've made it. And the thing about it is, whenever they get mad at you, they can take it all away. I don't know. I feel like this is how you know something's not right. And I'm not trying to be bitchy when I say these things. I'm not, because I really do look at things objectively. But for me to get my point across and get you to think, I'm talking in this manner, right? Because honestly, I know this is the thing. This shit has to go on. It's just part of life. Is everybody's playing a role. Everybody has their part. There is people that are more so leaning towards what we would call the light or white hats, and there's people that lean to more towards the dark and like to live in the shadows, and the bullshit, and the treachery and the deception and the manipulation and the discussing evil, hate, whatever you want to call it, right? That's just a thing. So somebody's got to do it. The thing is, we're trying to identify who these people are, bring this shit back into balance and get it together, because it's been running amok. It's been running amok. Um, Jaguar Wright has been going for years now, but just this year, of course, I've seen her more so. I know she's been doing it for years. I know that, but I was noticing her more so getting traction in 2023, and it's really went crazy this year. And the whole thing really did something to her spirit, because she got on her own personal live and had to talk about it. And we have seen this woman knows what she's talking about. I mean, if you can go ahead and try to discredit her in any way that you can, but at the end of the day, um I'm gonna say this. So let's say we're gonna go to we're gonna go with this. Well, she was there. That's why she knew she took part in it. Somebody had to play a part to bring it down. You had to get close to it. How else would it be exposed if nobody got close to it? So you got to play that role. Sometimes in life, you are really a double agent, right? They show you this in movies and stuff like that, like Into, was it N2D with LL Cool J and shit like that? She's the female LL Cool. She was the female LL Cool J. You got to be able to get on the inside to bust it up. And this is why we sometimes go through different roles in life. Some people start off in some very nefarious beginnings and they end up in the white hat. Well, they couldn't have went and become such the Trojan horse of justice had they not been in the trenches with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to, again, this is what I'm talking about with critical thinking. We're so quick to assassinate people's characters and come after them without any understanding. And so what I'm asking is that we gain understanding more so. But it was very clear to me that this behavior, that the combination of propaganda and this belief in these fantasies that we have in people, as if people owe us anything or we owe them anything. These are entertainers and they're human beings and they got their hang-ups, quirks, and whatever too, right? And this is why when it comes to living this life, it's best to be in the observing seat. Observe before you jump in with your judgment and your criticism, because you can learn a lot observing, and we could get a lot more done when we observe, right? We can be more accurate in what we're tackling, right? um you know Another thing when it comes to assumptions and stuff like this, Candace Owens, people don't dislike her. I mean, from face value and not doing any critical thinking and not watching her and stuff like that, and going along with the chain gang of the sheeple in the river of stupidity, simply put, I wouldn't like her either. But I took the time to really watch her, and I have a deep appreciation for Candace Owens. Number one, for a person who went to school for journalism and have a degree, I appreciate the her talent and her meticulous nature with what she does, right? She's not a blogger. She doesn't get on here she's being messy, because this stuff is messy. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing, talking about this shit. That's why I don't really like to talk about it too much outside of having a point. And that's the point that I've been giving for the last 22 minutes. Um because there is no, when it comes to talking about celebrities and celebrity news, there is no way not to be messy. Right, you're going to step on toe. It's just, it gets messy. There's no way around it. You can't really necessarily be um loyal, because then you create biases and shit like that. So it's just messy. I don't like mess, right? Not to that degree. Some of the stuff, I mean, I've watched things that are messy, but I have my levels of mess, and I'm damn sure not going to be one that just jumps in it. And again, no judgment or knock to people that do it, because somebody's got to do it. It just ain't gonna be me. You feel me? But I appreciate Candace Owens was on it when it came to this election, and Kamala Harris, and just breaking things down, and just her information pieces that she's been doing. I mean, she lost her channel for really getting into it with the whole you know, with the people who that wear the hats and shit and don't drive on Saturdays. You can't say nothing about their ass. She she went in on that stuff. And I love it. I love her bravery. Listen, I'm not getting into, y'all can say whatever. She's married to this, she's that, and whatever. She could be this, that, and the third. Listen, again, I don't know nothing about it. Could be. I won't speculate. But again, sometimes we have to be double agents to even do our job, right? And get the truth out. So, and she could be strictly on the up and up. I don't know what she is. I don't give a fuck. I just appreciate how she is meticulous and very attentive to the craft of journalism, because there's so many people that just get on the mic and just say anything. And that was blowing my mind watching this John Ramsey case. Like, again, the stuff that they put in the paper, the stuff that they said, the shit that they made up, it was very damaging. And people don't question anything. I mean, goodness grief. I mean, we've lost our minds since we were given that Bible. Anything that we feel is coming from a place of authority, we believe it shouldn't be questioned, and that it has to be the truth, undisputable truth. And that's so far from the truth. That's a delusion, and it's very negligent in when it comes to thinking, and it's dangerous. So my point is to say, when we do these things, we have a case that's still not solved because people had their beliefs and their biases, right? And we have children and victims out here that are just now getting on the precipice, we're at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to cracking down this whole um nefarious ring uh, um, of child trafficking in Hollywood, and this the people that we feel that are supposed to entertain us, and the people that are supposed to protect us allegedly and govern us allegedly, allow this shit and participate and perpetuate such heinous crimes. And it goes on, and it's been right in front of our face. But because of our belief and because of propaganda, we've allowed it to go on. So my whole thing tonight is just to get you to think and get you to prioritize, what are you really outraged about? Because a lot of this shit that we're up in arms about doesn't need our attention. And the very things that need our attention, we fail to give our attention. Meanwhile, people are being hurt. So I love you guys. Listen, subscribe to my Patreon, y'all. It's free. My Patreon is free. Again, I am going to go ahead and do episode 3 of Truth and Justice Tarot with JonBenet. I got another one after that, but my girlfriend said she wanted to know what I had to say about it, and we would talk about it, so I'm going to do that. So you have to subscribe to Patreon. Again, it's free to see that and to see the other 2 episodes that I did. And I'm also going to have a podcast. I Am Racquel will be coming out in January 2025. It's a very raw podcast, but it is one that you have to pay for, meaning doesn't matter what tier you pick in Patreon, you will have access to it, but it will be a paid podcast. So I have some things that are free that is exclusive to Patreon, and I have something that's paid for. I also have a tarot class that just released yesterday. It's very looks I went in on that class, very detailed. I will say this is another part of bullshit that I be talking about that these companies do. So if you purchase it from an Android or a regular computer, it'll be, and what I mean, like something that runs Microsoft, that it's going to be $89. But if you purchase it from an Apple product, Apple has this thing with Patreon where they tack on their own fucking price. So then the class goes up to 127. So I'm just letting you know that. And I also have this learning, this PDF, this for creators, from musicians, podcasters. It's just all around thing. It's tips and tools, free resources, and other things that will help you cultivate your brand. Okay, it's very valuable. And it's what I think it's $17. It's not expensive. And that's on Patreon as well. So I thank y'all. Send me y'all suggestions though. With this Truth and Justice Tarot, I need y'all suggestions. What do you want me to solve? Okay, I did TT Branch, and I did this last lady. I can't, what is her name? Is it Jocelyn? I can't remember. Listen, it's on here. If you're looking at YouTube, it's in the community tab. I did her, and I'm gonna do the JonBenet because I was asked. But yeah, send me your suggestions so we can do that. So subscribe to my Patreon. Thanks for watching. If you're just catching at the end, rewind to the beginning and have some patience. Damn it. Like, share, and subscribe. I love y'all. This is for my thinkers. I'm for my thinkers. I ain't for the people that have short attention spans and don't want to think and just want to be messy and be on some ignorant shit. I'm not that one. So love you guys, and I'm out.